All right, so right now we're about to do a air brake pressure test, and I've already got out and chuck my wheels. And the first test that I'm going to perform is going to be my governor cutout test. And the purpose of this test is that my governor should cut out at no higher than 140 psi. So we're going to get the truck in the on position. We're going to check what our pressure is at, and I'm at full capacity. So I am going to bring this level down to 90 psi. So we're going to help the pressure go down by pumping the brake here. All right, so we are now at 90 psi. So now I'll start the engine. And starting with my seatbelt, it's not cut, torn, or frayed, and it securely locks and is in working proper condition. And I'm going to go ahead and just wait for that. We're going to wait for that pressure to rise to check when our governor cuts out. I appreciate you guys, YouTube. Still in the learning process, but I'm just perfecting the craft, you dig? We're going to cover the brake and remain covered over the brake while we are watching this pressure build to capacity. And this was a successful test because my governor cut out at 125 psi. The next test that I'm going to perform is going to be my governor cut in test. And the purpose of this test is that my governor should cut in at no lower than 100 psi. So right now I'm at full capacity. So I'm going to pump the service brake. Bring that down, wait for the needle to stop. So my needle did not move, so I'm now going to apply the service brake once more and bring that pressure down closer to 100. Needle stop and accelerate for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this was a successful test because my governor cut in at 105 psi. So the next test that I'm going to perform is going to be my apply pressure test. And prior to performing that test, I'm going to shut off my engine. Or actually, I'm going to allow my pressure to build back up to capacity, which it's almost there. Once my pressure builds back up to capacity, I will then perform my apply pressure test. And the purpose of that test is that I should not lose more than 4 psi within 60 seconds. So, sir, if you can get your timer out for me. We're now at full capacity. So what I'm going to do is shut off my engine, bring it back to the on position, release my parking brake and my trailer brake, wait for this needle to stop. So the needle has stopped moving. I'm now going to apply brake pressure. Time me, please. Oh, actually, no. I'm going to wait for the needle to stop. And the needle has stopped at 85 psi. Time me, please.
Time.
And this was not a successful test because I lost. Actually, this was a successful test because I didn't lose more than 4 psi within 60 seconds. My next test that I'm going to perform is going to be my low air pressure warning light test. And the purpose of that test is that my air pressure low warning light should activate in between 75 and 55 psi. So, and that was a successful test because my low air pressure warning light activated at 75 psi. The next test that I'm going to perform is going to be my parking and trailer brake pop-out test. And the purpose of that test is that my trailer and parking brake should both pop out in between 20 and 45 psi. So we're going to now repeatedly press the service brake until we get the pop out. And that was a successful test because my trailer and air brakes both popped out at about 30 psi. So that was a successful test. So before I go on to perform my next test, I am going to start the engine first to build pressure back to capacity. And I'm going to step out and unchuck my wheels. Starting again, now that we're waiting on that air pressure to rise, I'm going to go ahead and perform my in-cab inspection. Starting with my seatbelt. It's not cut, ripped, or frayed, and it securely locks and unlocks. Both of my side mirrors, left and right, are clean, not cracked, broken, and are secured and mounted. My windshield has no cracks, it's not broken or pitted, and is securely mounted. My windshield wiper blades are adjusted with the proper tension. My wiper blades themselves have no cuts or frays. They are properly secured and mounted. My left turn signal works properly. My right turn signal is functioning properly. My city horn is functioning properly. My air horn is functioning properly. My high beams are functioning properly, as well as my low beams are functioning properly. My hazard lights are functioning properly, as well as my defroster is functioning properly, and my heat is functioning properly. And next, starting with my gauges, my oil pressure is reading between 40 and 60 psi. My water temperature is reading between 180 and 200 degrees. My battery voltage is reading between 12 and 14 volts. I also have my emergency equipment, which consists of a fully charged, secured and mounted fire extinguisher that has a current tag that's dated and the locking pin in place. I also have my 3 reflective triangles that are not cracked or broken and are in proper working condition. I also have a box of spare fuses. And now that I have completed my in-cab inspection, we're just going to wait for this air pressure, which is almost there at full capacity, and my last and final test, once I reach capacity, that I'm going to perform is going to be my tug test. The purpose of the tug test is that my trailer air supply brakes and my parking brakes should both hold both vehicles in place while accelerating. So now that I have reached full capacity, I'm going to now perform my tug test. Releasing my parking brake in drive. 1 tug, 2 tugs. Now my trailer air supply brakes. 1 tug, 2 tugs. That was a successful test because both my parking brake and my trailer air supply brakes both held both vehicles in place while accelerating. And I do believe that would complete my air brake pressure test and my in-cab inspection. May I continue? Love you, YouTube.